Welcome back everybody, Automotive Inc. here. Today we're going to work on taking out the driver's seat of a 2007 Chevy Avalanche. Now this procedure will be the same for Sierra, Silverado, Tahoe, and Yukon from that era. Also probably a Cadillac, but this is obviously a Chevy. So we're going to remove it for a couple different reasons. One, I'm going to look at repairing or replacing the seat covers themselves. I bought a kit, but we're going to just basically do a removal of the seat. Now, before we get started, make sure you smash the subscribe button and notification bell so you know when I post new content, because we're going to be doing a lot of work on this 07 Avalanche, bringing it back to its glory. And I have a lot of detailed videos on it, tons of stuff on the channel. Go check it out. It's all awesome, so make sure you do that. Now, before we get started, 2007, we got some older plastics, and obviously we have gray. Anytime you pry on this older plastic, there's a high potential it could crack or break, so we want to be as gentle as we can with it. So I'm going to highly recommend that you get these tools. Now I'm going to link all these on the Zon. Now old school would be this far left one. Everybody's going to use a tiny little flat blade screwdriver and pry on those plastics. This is a body tool panel remover, and these are plastic ones, and what they do is they prevent you from marring. Now I have tons of different sizes of these vinyl ones, and they're really cheap on the Zon. I'll link them below. Reason why we want to do that is they're going to bend a little bit before that plastic blade screwdriver does. So we want to make sure that, one, we're not marring the plastic, because that metal screwdriver, it will. It's going to dent this plastic right here. It's going to mar it. It's going to make a groove on it. And it's older plastic, so we want to make sure that we're not. Now, let's get started on the removal. Because we're removing the entire seat out of the truck, I want to detail under it and everything like that. You got to remove the seat belt from here. Now, if you look here, there are two tabs. You can't screw this up. So once we remove it, but you will need a specialty star socket for that. I have those. I can link them below. Now this panel right here goes in like this. So you can see the trailing edges are going to hook in here. Your pry points when you use your plastic removal tool will be one at the top, one on the side, one down here, and these little pointed ones will pull in there. And like I said, they give a little bit, so you don't have to worry about damaging that plastic. Once you get that off, you can set it aside. I'm going to take an opportunity while it's off to clean the entire panel and get that done with. We're going to come up here with the same tool, and the pry points are going to be on the back side here, here, and here. Once you get that done, this whole piece is going to come out. It's going to stay on the seat belt, but now we can take this and pull this through the hole and set it aside. And like always, guys, I'm going to tell you exactly what tools you need, so that way you don't go out and buy a bunch of useless crap, because a lot of these tools can be very expensive if you're going to go to your local store. But if this job is coming up in your plans, you can get all this crap on the Zon. So this set, I think, was less than $8. I'll link it below. It has Torx all the way down to 4 to 24, and the one you're going to need is a 20. Now, the bigger ones are 1/2 inch drive, so make sure you have a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter, or if you got a 1/2 inch extension and socket, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and remove that seat belt. Now that we have that off, you can just work that up through the hole and set it aside. Now this would be a good opportunity if you want to clean your seat belt itself. I'll have a video on that later, because the lighter colored ones obviously turn darker over time. Now that we got that aside, we're good to go. So now we're going to remove these bolt covers. These are basically cover where that is. So you'll want to lift the seat up as far as you can get it, and you do one at a time. And again, we're going to take our little pointed object here, stick it in the hole, and we're just going to kind of work it out. So as you can see here, I got it popped up right here. And again, this is going to be your trailing edge. Not all of the plastics here have a screwdriver notch in there, or if you will, a removal tool. So you can see right there, it is also going to be a Torx. I think back in the day, nobody wanted you to remove your own seat. So you'll definitely need this Torx set, but we're going to do the same thing on this cover. We're going to go on both sides of this little prong hole and pop it up. Now you can see these things got dingy over time. I'm sure they're identical part numbers, but just lay them aside in the same order you took them off, so that way we get them in the same hole. So we'll go ahead and remove these Torx. Now the front one is going to be, it looks like the 20, but we'll find out. So the front one is a 20, the back one is a 16, and again 14. And this set will come with tons more, because those little star type Torx are all over this thing. And again, I'm removing the seat for a lot of things, but I'm trying to remove dog hair out of here. And you can see down this hole there is a lot of dog hair. So we're going to go ahead and remove these two and set those aside. Now that rear bolt is a little bit hard to get off. So there is a Torx 20. That's this little guy is right here. Torx 20. These are security head ones. You don't need that necessarily. But I'll link those below. And there are several of those to remove this one piece of plastic. Okay, so you can see this screw hole right there below the 2 square notches. There's going to be one there. There's also going to be one right back on this side. Look at all that nasty dog hair. It's disgusting. And there is one more right there. After you remove that, you'll be able to bend this piece of plastic out and around. So I would suggest starting on the back as you pull that out and around. You can see it has those 2 little, I guess, looking cross trees that are going to clip in. It would be very hard to try and unsnap those while they're in the truck, but for reinstallation, if that helps you, you can detach these 2 pieces separately, and it'll be much easier out here. And try and get them a little warm. Just let them sit on the kitchen table or something and warm up, so that way they pull apart easier for install if that's what you want to do. But now we can access that other bolt much easier. So I guess this is a Torx nut. This looks like a bolt. All right, now we're ready for the other side. So your pry point on this guy is going to be on this corner edge here. There's nothing attaching it, so once you pop it up, it just clamps on to the actual bolt that it holds the thing in, and that little metal clip down there, if you can see it. So that one's also going to be a 20. So, oh my gosh, this is so nasty. So we're going to go ahead and pull that bad boy off. And then once you get that little clip ring back, you can shove it in that hole to have it go back down on it, and it'll be good. So not many tools needed for that. So now we'll go to the back. All right, now on this cover, you can pull this edge out and around it, and then your pry point is going to be right here. So you can stick your tool in there like this, and then once you get around it, it'll pop up. See how that little metal clip, you can't really see it. Yeah, you can see it right there. The metal clip stayed in this one. We'll push that clip back in the other one. Just remember the little burrs or whatever go up into the tunnel. And so, so nasty. So again, good opportunity to clean while you're removing the seat, clean these pieces, these panels. And yeah, so far so good on that. So we're going to go ahead and remove this one. Again, same size as the outside ones, just less hassle to get to those. And we're going to remove that. Remember, you may have to move this seat up a little bit, so don't worry about the electrical connections right away. Disconnecting them. We want to make sure that we can move it back and forth to get to each one of these. All right, so we got the bolts out. So now all we have to do is basically disconnect the wiring harnesses. Now I will tell you this. I have a good scan tool. Got it off the Zon. I can link it below, but it's pricey. Like $400 or $500 if I remember right. And you get a 2-year subscription. You can either disconnect the battery, which will probably still set a memory fault code. It may not show the check engine light, because in this vehicle, a check engine light can be a lot of different things. But even if it does, it should reset itself. Once we plug it all back in, it should reset itself after about 5 or 6 drives, if you will, or 10 key cycles. You won't be able to just start it and shut it off, whatnot. It may not do anything, but just be prepared, especially with memory seats. I had to replace the battery in this when I got it, and it did show a fault for memory seats, amplifier, something, and it wouldn't pass emissions because it had pending faults. It couldn't read the OBD. So just keep that in mind. Not a big deal. I think a scan tool is worth having around, but that's a very expensive thing, so I'm not going to really press on that. So this seat is heavy, and it is greasy underneath of it, no matter what, because they put grease on all the moving connections. So just be aware of that. If you aren't that strong, or you need an extra hand, grab an extra set of hands. I'm feeling pretty spry today, so I'm going to lift this beast out myself. What I find easiest is to tip the seat up like this to undo the electrical connections from the floor. We shouldn't have to remove anything from the seat, so the wiring that's connected to the seat should be able to stay. So especially if you have the seat back up, you can see how much room it's going to give you. It's still tilting. Because the alignment pegs are here and this was a bolt here, you don't really worry about too much. Now, most of the connections underneath the seat, it looks like a freaking spider web in here. So most of these connections are going to have one of these type of lifting type connectors. So you might be thinking, man, this is a lot of work, Jeremy. Well, imagine having to take this to a dealer. They're going to charge you 2.5, 3 hours to get underneath here. So if you had to replace a motor or something underneath here, then you can save yourself the time. I'm doing it to detail it and potentially change out the seat cover. And this is going to be the shout out to my mechanic friends out there. I know a lot of great mechanics, and those guys are worth their weight in gold. A real good mechanic will do this, but they're going to be down there with your boogers and your pretzels and all that dog hair and stuff like that. So if you think, wow, they must be making good money, trust me, these guys are working their tail off. So if you decide to go that route and you have a good mechanic, then just understand that when they quote you a price to do this, it's tedious and it's a pain, that they're doing all this legwork for you. So I'm going to disconnect that wire harness now. So I wanted to come back to this real quick, guys, because there is two different things you need to know. This little plastic cover needs to come off. You'll see the push tab on this side right here. Go ahead and push it, pop it off the back. And then once you get in there, there are little squeeze tabs on the back side of this right here. Reach your hand around both sides. You can fit it in right here and squeeze it, and then you'll be able to pull that up, which is good that they put that little fail-safe in there. And as soon as you push this all the way up, so if it's only like this far, you're not getting it out. Push it all the way up, and it'll actually push this connector out itself. And after that, we're ready to get this bad boy out of here. All right, now we got that out. So now I can get this detailed, get everything done here. And like I said, we're going to put this little metal ring back in there. Remember, it goes up in the hole of that one piece. So that's all the tools you're going to need to do it. Reassembling is going to be identical, but you can see I got more work ahead of me cleaning this up, so I won't bore you with that. If you want to know how I'd clean that up, it's just going to be some elbow grease, probably some rubbing alcohol water mix, and a rag. It's not going to suck off because you can see that it's got a lot of grease in there, but I'll have a separate video on how I replace the cover if that's what I decide to do, if I don't want to repair it. But you can see right here, your mechanic, or you, that's what you're going to be getting into. So, you know, give them some grace there. So I will be doing a separate video on the passenger side, although I think the procedure is going to be almost identical because it has power, and not memory, but power over there. But we'll do it because that way there's 100% sure we'll know everything and the tools that we need. So again, all the links for the tools you need, guys, down there, probably less than $15 for the tools, and those tools you'll use over and over and over and over again if you are working on anything these days. It's just good to be prepared. So as always, guys, I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to catch you on the next one.